Good morning. This is Terrance Biggs, host of Under the Helmet, and these are your power rankings for the APDFL. '26, you have the Oklahoma Wildcats. After stomping a non-conference team, the Wildcats sit there, and they're interesting because they have an unfavorable schedule because they play all the games. No, I shouldn't say all. They play the majority of the games on the road, and they have to travel great distances from Oklahoma to the southeast. They're a veteran team. They have veteran players who have won in various leagues. This will be a test of their resolve. This will be a test of what they have left in the tank. This will be a test of who they are. They have sound coaching. They won't be at the bottom of this list for too long. 25, you have the Tallahassee Unconquered. To their credit, the Unconquered played excellent defense. Again, like some of these teams in the 20s, they can't score. And you're not going to win games in the APDFL if you can't score. You've got to generate some sort of offense. Whatever you're doing, do it better. Change it, throw it out the window, something. Change what you're doing. 24, you have the Tri-City Savages at 0-2. After shocking a few teams last year, the Savages sit at 0-2. They also, they need big plays. Daenerys and Antoine cannot be the only person on the team that shows up. He can't be the main focus of the offense. He can't be the main focus of the defense. Other people need to show up and play. They need to show up and show out. The number 23 Greater Pensacola Jets. At this point, I never thought the Jets would be 0-2. I didn't think that they would have such struggles in scoring the ball and actually defending. This is going to be a very interesting stretch for the Jets. They need to put these wins together in a hurry before the season turns south. Next, you have the Steel City Raptors. If you talk to a couple of Mississippi Dynasty players after the Week 1 defeat of the Raptors, they say that they have pieces in place. If you watch the film of the Gators game, the Raptors have building blocks. It's just they're going to take time to get to where they need to get, and at 0-2, they need to get there fast, or else the season will become a nightmare. Speaking of a nightmare season, 21 is the Georgia Noles. The Noles fought the Phantoms tooth and nail, and they're in games. They are in games. It's just they got to put together enough type of sustained drives and actually cash in. You can run the ball between the 20s all you want, but if you don't hit pay dirt, you're not going to win games. They need to start winning games. 20, you have the Redstone Raiders. The Raiders also are new to the league after playing in the XSFL. Growing pains. They will fight. They will claw. They will scratch. It just takes the opportunity to get that first victory under their belts. At 19, you have the West Mobile 49ers. The 49ers are offensively challenged, but they show up, and whether we want to admit it or not, they show up, and they show up well, and they grind games out. They're still looking for their first victory. Next, you have the Crescent City Rampage. Lost in the Kings, the Lightning, the Cardinals, the Rampage exists under the radar. They're smaller, they have speed, they beat an Oklahoma team. This is more of seeing what pieces can they now put together to cobble a quality playoff run. 17, you have the Central Florida Gators. At 0-1, they did manage to take a pounding by the Gulf Coast Gators, but if you watch that game, you saw they have pieces. They have interesting players all over the field. They have a quarterback who will take a shot and keep on keeping on. Snead is going to shock people in this league. 16, you have the Biola Cardinals. The Cardinals have a sound defense. They will force turnovers. Unfortunately, they will not score too many points, which this is why they sit where they are. If they get an offense, a scheme, and a game plan to generate points, they could be a problem too. It's just one of those things that, being new to the league, they had to face the Blackhawks right off the bat, and the Blackhawks were not in the mood for it, and they ended up pounding them. They rebounded with a victory. Gary Narcisse has the tools on his team. They have the depth to make a go of it. 15, you have the Selma City Vikings. Before the season started, people pegged the Vikings as a surprise team. Chuck Morgan has his team ready. They lost a controversial game to the Alabama Tigers last weekend, but that defense is sound. They have a sound strategy. If they get any sort of consistent offensive play, they will move up this list and move up this list very quickly. Next, you have the Tuskegee Airmen. Coach John Black, year after year, retools the Airmen, adds players, adds parts. They continue to impress. They lost a heartbreaking game 1 to the Lightning by 6 points, but they rebounded with a victory last week. The Airmen will put up points. They will put up points at an alarming clip where you didn't think that they would be able to score this way. They will score. 13, you have the Columbus Storm. No team in APDFL has entered the league with such fanfare, albeit self-generated, as the Columbus Storm. They got their first win yesterday after opening the season 0-2. They have a very good pass rush. It is startlingly good. It is going to be a definite bone of contention. And if they get any modicum of offense around that, they might be a problem. 12, you have the Bay County Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are a team that, again, it's not pretty. It's not going to wow people. It's not going to burn up the record books. They're going to get on the field. They're going to grind it out. They're going to bring home a close victory. They will play close games for the duration of the season. 11 is a surprise. You have the Alabama Tigers at 2-0. The Tigers are surprisingly 2-0, where most people thought they wouldn't contend or be able to scrape together a couple of wins. They are 2-0. As Bill Parcells once said, you are what your record says you are. And they're 2-0. Ten is Pike County. New to the APDFL, the Titans were giving the Kings a run for their money early in the middle of the game as well. This is one of the surprise teams where they can make noise in Mississippi, even though the shadow of the dynasty casts largely across the Magnolia State. They are definitely a team to watch. Also 2-0, you have the Louisiana Lightning. The Lightning behind Mel Davis on the offense. 2019 number 1 ranked player in APDFL, Carlos Kohler on defense, are crafting together an excellent season under Mike Anderson. Davis is definitely stepping up his game after a long absence, which saw him play last year for the first time in a couple of years. His mechanics look sound. He has more of a grasp of the offense, and he has different receivers. And on top of the previous targets he had, he looks comfortable in the pocket. Next, you have at 8 the Panhandle Crusaders. The Crusaders are new to the APDFL. They're winning games. It may not be pretty, it may not be aesthetic, but they're winning games, and if they keep winning, they'll keep rising up this list. 9. The 7th team are the East Alabama Predators. They play an out-of-conference game this weekend, but this is based on their Commissioner's Classic victory versus the Columbus Storm. The Predators' defense, again, they close the door. They're fast. They're not the biggest team, but they have speed all aspects of the ball. And in Travell Searle, they have one of the most innovative play callers in the league. Number 6 are the Crescent City Kings. After a couple of slow starts, the Kings have managed to enter this list undefeated. They started slow versus Pike County, and now they look to hopefully catch fire. They're implementing a lot of new players into the offense and defense. It takes time. Coach Washington will definitely have his team ready. The number 5 team is the Orlando Phantoms. The Phantoms have played close games. They've won close games. They have a major test this week against the Georgia Cobras. We will now see if their self-appointed preseason hype will live up to expectations playing a ready Cobras team. Fresh off a narrow defeat at the Dynasty's hands, the number 4 Alabama Blackhawks. The Hawks, they function well defensively. It's just the offense needs to kind of pick it up. This was the first game for Kyle Caldwell back. We will see how they proceed. They have a nice long break in between games, so we'll see what adjustments they will make. Next, we have the aforementioned Gators. They rebounded from the loss to the Cobras with a resounding thumping of the Steel City Raptors. With the Gators defense and Tyrone Jones, who is completing passes at a 62.5% clip, the Gators look to be one of the main challengers to the Dynasty in their conference. With a nail-biting, solid defensive effort versus the Alabama Blackhawks. I don't see a team right now that is playing as well defensively in any level as semi-pro. They are absolutely shutting it down. Meanwhile, on the offensive side of the ball, they're working things through. They had a couple players missing, but they still managed to score enough points and then let the defense close the door. They will be a tough out, and they will be a tough game for anyone coming forward as the weeks go by. The second on this list, number 2, is the Georgia Cobras. After defeating the Gulf Coast Gators, the Cobras sit second based on the fact of they have a high-powered offense. Deion Graham retires. Marcus Brooks steps in. It doesn't seem like there's a beat missed. They lose Gerard Lewis to the Blackhawks, but yet they ground out a victory versus the Gators. They have an interesting game coming up this week against the Phantoms, and that will surely shake up the top 5. This has been your APDFL Power Rankings. I'm Terrance Biggs.